right, we're back. And just thinking about what I should name the branch. I'm still waiting for the little sparkle button here for branch name. That'd be nice, right? I guess we have an issue, right? For working on this. So, hold on, let's get these side by side. I think we normally do like issue. We're working on 375. 375. There we go. Oh, 374? Nope. It's fine. 375. Okie dokie. So, if I stage this, what does Copilot think a good commit message? Update curve data and scenario 1 for improved gameplay dynamic. Okay, great. What do I actually want to say here? Make zombies spawn slower in scenario 1. And then basic zombie here, it'll probably have more luck in understanding what's going on with this change. Reduce speed from 10 to 5. Yep. And then this is one of those, removing the crit multiplier. Redundant. There we go. Do we want to try to... What do we want to do about the, do we want to do anything about the stun lock thing? I think, honestly, it wasn't intentional. It's like, not like I had, like, a feature. It was like, oh, I should make it so that when you click, like, there was definitely a moment in time while I was implementing it that we made the choice to, like, interrupt the zombie movement when they took damage and, like, stagger them. But it's not like it's in the game design doc, right? But I think it's probably fine because at the end of the day, it doesn't give you a lot. Something I'm curious about, actually, let me stop this and then we're gonna go to the project settings and we're gonna turn on some things. We're gonna turn on the debug panel and bypass tech requirements. And one, make sure that still works. But two, we're gonna mess with some stuff. There we go. Give me free scrap. Cool. And then we will start unlocking techs. Kind of weird. Oh, I get it. So if I hit Y and I hit Y again, it just toggles. But if I'm in the tech tree and I hit escape, it takes me to the pause menu. And then I hit escape again, and it brings me... Okay, I think that's fine. So now, because I've turned on that debug option, I can just unlock everything. So let's unlock... What does this do? Chain lightning between targets. I haven't actually... Yeah, that doesn't do anything because I haven't implemented that. Let's do... I've not implemented any of the economy stuff yet. Scraps recycler, drone salvager, industrial recycler, harvest boost. None of that. What does this do? Increases yield. That'd be cool. None of this is implemented yet. Now the overcharger and the range amplifier, we've seen these things because they we built the models and we also saw some. This is months ago at this point. But you can get really overpowered things here. Although I don't think we've implemented the. I don't remember implementing the attack speed beacon, but the range amplifier, and I guess I have because, but the click stuff is pretty cool. So shot click, yep, and I've not implemented recoil dampener. Mitigates accuracy penalties on nearby turrets while player is clicking. It's really cool reading things that I haven't read in a long time. So things we can do, we can put down turrets, right? We can put down attack speed beacons. Yay, it's a bug. Invalid type and function apply buff to building in base static body 3D entity buff building. The object derived class of argument 1 node 3D is not a subclass of the expected argument class. Neat. Cool. Do I want to just fix random things as I go? Why not? I got nothing better to do. I mean, there's definitely things to do, but why not fix it if we can? Line 66 or 44. Yeah, 44, right? 44? 44? Yeah. Apply buff to building. It expected a building. It got a node 3D. Okay. So, if building is not placeable building. What is the types? Entity placeable building. Okay. So that should be fine. What's this red? Cannot resolve class entity ranged building. Lies. Lies. Placeable building. Okay. It's probably fine. Well, shall we see if we can reproduce the issue with that guard? Presumably, so what's actually happening here? Here. Oh, I see. So we're supposed to be getting everything in the tree that has this group. Buildings. So we should have a logger here. Yeah. Why? Well, because that shouldn't happen. Like, only things that are buildings should be tagged buildings. Right. So we need at least. I don't want that. I want that one. We don't actually need that for what we're trying to reproduce. We just need the support towers here. Okay, so I did something like, so we have an overcharger. We have an attack speed beacon. Oh, muscle car is in the building group, but it's not a building. I think that's fine. We'll not do a warning. We'll do a debug. Yeah. So we tried to pass the reference to the node for the car to the thing that was going to apply buffs, and that doesn't work. It doesn't have the right methods for that. Anyway, I wanted to like show off some of the stuff that works here. I don't think any of the other offensive tech stuff is actually implemented, is it? Nah. So the range amplifier, that's kind of hard to see. the little range indicator nowadays. Basically what we can do, like if we want to do overcharges here, we can stack a bunch of overcharges. Now, I don't know about all the lines. What is our range? I think the range is now so far. Plus 69% range. Let's do more range. Right, so then the range is 120%. Now the range is 186%. There you go. And now if we want to just stack, let's do some attack speeds. Oh, we're done. Did we kill all the zombies? Anyway, so yeah, all that stuff continues to work other than the bug that we found, which I'm glad I tested that. That's not actually what I wanted to test. Let's do this one again. And because we won this scenario, it kept like all the stuff we earned, kept the tech unlocks, all that stuff works, so that's nice. But what I wanted to do, did we unlock shot click? We did. Okay. Yeah. We do. Yeah, I think I want to do more like incremental like tech progress, where it's like, oh, you get this tech and it's like 5% more, 10% more, like multiple levels of it. So if I get them in a cluster, oh, they're too far apart. There we go. We get AoE like splash damage with that tech unlock. Is it going to be enough to win the day? I don't know. I guess with the splash damage there is enough. Oh, rip! It's not. It's not. With the splash damage also staggers the zombies. I think one thing we could potentially do is have, do we want a feat? So how does that work? So what causes the zombie to get stunned when it's hit? Because I'm thinking we might want to have the ability to turn that off for certain types of zombies. Or to change the amount of time it lasts for. Is it in update navigation? No. On died, on health damaged? No, we don't do anything on health damaged. Oh, I think I know. If we look at the scene for the enemy, it has a component called shake effect. There we go. And so all this does, all it does is that when it receives damage taken, it does the shake effect. And so if there's a tween already going, it stops it, it creates the tween, it gets the parent's position, and then it changes the parent's position relative to its original position. So that keeps the navigation of the parent from making forward progress while the shake is going on. So I think if I were to set this to 0 and I run the game, would that just disable the stun lock? Here comes the zombie. No. No, it does not. Why? Well, that's the magnitude. That's the magnitude. That's this value, right? But that just determines how much it moves around the original position. That doesn't change the amount of time, which are these values, I think. Right, so that's that fourth argument, is the duration. So for a very short period of time, it goes one way, and then it goes a different way, and then it goes a different way, and then it goes a different way, and then in a longer period of time, it goes back to its original position. So I think what we could do is let's have another export called shake duration. Total duration of the shake effect in seconds. And then we have to math this. So this is 0.1, 0.1, 0.1. Okay, so we can just divide shake duration by a number, by 4. And then do all the other things, except now this is shake duration divided by 3. Right? No, this should be 6. Right? So we have 4/6 is 2/3, and then the other third. If we want it to work the same way as it did before, this is what we want to have. And let's do this. There we go. Oh, I lost my empty line. There we go. Okay, so this lets us tune the duration of the shaking. If we set it to 0, I think we might just want to have a disable. Yeah, I don't need the parenthetical. Okay. Yeah, if disable, return. Great. So I'm pretty sure what we can do, in fact, I think we have other scenes, right, for other kinds of zombies. Or have I been able to do everything with one zombie scene? Oh no, we have a sprinter zombie. So here's our sprinter zombie. And you can see it inherits all these different things from the parent. But I think what we would be able to do is we would be able to go into shake effect and change it to disable it here. So like if I change this doesn't change the base zombie enemy.tscn. Also, get rid of that. Right, this disables the shake effect here, which overrides the thing that inherits. Okay, I don't want to necessarily do that right now, but just as a demo of how we could make different kinds of zombies. All right, so if we go back to the base enemy and we disable the shake effect, what that's effectively going to do is it's going to disable the stun lock on the basic zombie. Which again is not something I want to do for the basic zombies in scenario 1, but for future zombies. Yeah, so no matter how much damage I'm doing to them, they don't yield. Now, is that what I want though? I don't want to change this actually, so let's do that, and then Godot will reload. There we go. Okay. Cool, and revert that change as well. Why not? Yeah. Good job. All right. So, what could I do instead? Let's add another export. Lock position while shaking. Yep. So, how would I not lock the position while we are shaking? Is there... Can I await a tween? No. Can tween property take a... Use property tweener from or from current. The starting position will be overridden by the value given by the given value instead. See other methods in property tweener to see how the tweening can be tweaked further. Okay, so maybe some other method. It's funny, I have a I don't know if this will be super relevant, but let's go look at it, because I have this tab that I've had opened. I've had a lot of tabs open, as you can see. There was one tab that I came across, a site that I came across, that looked really interesting, that I've not really had a chance to spend any time with yet. It'd be really cool if when I hovered over the tabs, it told me what the tabs were. Is it this one? Yeah, Tween's Interactive Guide. So it is a Godot web embed that is an interactive guide to tweens with sound effects. Look at this. So bouncy text input. I'm curious what that looks like. Ooh, cool. Anyway, not what I'm looking for. Screen shake plan. This is kind of, well, not exactly what I'm looking for. Preventing chaos. Yeah, when multiple tweens animate the same property. Keep track of your tweens and kill them first. So this is... Let's start animation. Cool. Versus... Great. Super. Anyway, still know what I'm looking for. Very cool. Very cool little guide. Click this only if you're cool. Is this going to take us to a... Oh, yeah. Yep. Oh, yeah. Okay, hold on one second. Can I first of all follow? Hey, I'm thinking of Open Game Art. I'm never logged in on Open Game Art, but I am logged in on itch.io because the session lasts longer, which is nice. Cool, they have a bunch of things. I'm gonna keep this tab open as well. Yay, more tabs. Very cool. Life cycle transitions and eases sequences. Yeah, we can do that. This is what we're doing, right? We have a sequence of tween property things. I could play it because that's the whole point of the interactive guide, but it's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for tweening shaders. So set shader parameter and then set ease tween property. Okay, and you can tween the shader parameter. Oh, neat. Very cool. I think I have, yeah, see all these tabs are shaders that I was thinking might be cool for the game. Anyway, so tweens for shaders. Anyway, tweeners, when and why. Work in progress. Okay, cool. Okay, well, very cool guide that I should spend more time looking at for other things, but not giving me what I'm looking for in this moment. So, shake tween. What do you got? So tween something probably, right? Tween property method interval callback subtween. Let me look at the docs again for tween property. Creates and appends a property tweener. If you use property tweener from or property tweener from current. Okay, so hold on. Property tweener dot new dot as relative. When called, the final value will be used as a relative value instead. Oh, okay, so wait, hold on. Can I hover over this again? It returns a property tweener. Okay. So anything we're getting here for autocomplete is stuff we could call on these things. So what does as relative do? When called, the final value will be used as relative value instead. Okay, so this is what we want to do, right? So this is all absolute. We capture the original position, and then we move things relative to the original position. That keeps the path, the agent pathfinding for the enemies from moving forward because we lock them in that location. So really what we want to do is we want to say here, if, not the thing that the guy just gave us, if we're locking position while shaking, we want to do all this. Otherwise, what we want to do is something very much exactly like this, but different. What we want to do is we want to not use original position. As relative, as relative, as relative, as relative. Yes, as relative here. So the gotcha is going to be this vector needs to be the thing that undoes all of these things. So what do we need to do here? So if we go this way, and then we go back, but we go this way, and then we undo this, and then go back here, and then when we undo half of it, and we do half of this, so what this needs to be is another negative half of the shake magnitude. And then another positive. Wait, hold on. 0, add, subtract. Okay, and then we need to subtract out this. Yeah. I don't know. Let's find out what that does. It's gonna be interesting because you gotta think like the zombie is trying to move, and we're applying these tweens to it while it's also moving. So what's going to happen? I don't know. So we're going to not lock position while shaking on the enemy. We're gonna run the game. So we've given ourselves a few different knobs to control this behavior, with the idea of then we can choose different things for how the zombie behaves. So that didn't work. At least it seemed like it was still moving a little bit. Let's get some more zombies in here. See, even though my cursor... Okay, let's find another one. Yeah, so the zombies still move. A little bit. What if I dialed down the shake duration? Okay, let's restart. Yeah, see how much... Like, I'm constantly clicking, but the zombie is still moving. There's still a little bit of shaking, a little bit of, like, stun lock, but it's much less pronounceable. So I think between all these different options, we have some knobs that we can use to, like, make things more challenging for different kinds of zombies. So that's good. And we're not going to commit our project config. Although that is one thing that I did do in the... so we did actually a stream where we were working on this. The ability to cut a release and have it automatically upload to itch.io. Well, one of the things I did recently was I made it, when I introduced these project settings, I made it when it does the release, it makes sure these things are turned off on the release. So even if I did commit these to be turned on in the source code, they would not be so in the release. Sure. And then we'll go over here and reload. Okay, great. Okay, let me push this up because I think this is good, and we can also look at our other pull requests from the beginning of the stream, right? So we got rid of the thing where the wave would end as soon as the zombies were dead, and it would continue until the time elapsed, giving you, like, not punishing you for killing the zombies faster. So what are the review comments here? So it's misleading. Is spawning active stays true for the full duration, even if enemies that spawn drains early? True while enemies are still being spawned. False once duration of wave ends. This may be false while the wave is active if there are still enemies spawned after the duration has ended. This will prevent new enemies from spawning until the next wave starts when It's not wrong. I called it. Unless I could be wrong, of course. That's always possible. In fact, it feels often that is often the case, but I'm fairly sure. What does it want to say? It's true during this wave spawning window. False once the wave duration ends, even if the spawn queue was exhausted earlier. False once wave duration ends is correct, even if the spawn queue was exhausted earlier. Okay, that's misleading, because it will be false once the spawn queue is empty. This may be false while the wave is still active if enemies are still alive on the field after the duration has ended. This prevents new enemies from spawning in until the next wave starts, when allow overlap is false. True during this wave spawning window. False once wave duration ends, even if the spawn queue was exhausted earlier. No, but so this is misleading because it's false as soon as the spawn queue is empty, right? Or no? Let's switch back to this one. Okay, when is it false? When wave end is okay. Thanks for showing me the comments that I was already looking at. Okay, so this is set to false when only at wave end, and wave end is only happening when the timer elapses. Yes. Okay, false once duration of wave ends. Down here. Even if the spawn queue was exhausted earlier. Okay, you know what? I think it actually is correct. Versus what I had. False once duration of wave ends. Let's prevent new enemies. I mean, I don't think this is wrong. Both can be both can be true. I like the phrasing of is alive on the field after duration has ended. So I'm going to take this. Yeah, I know, but yeah, I mean, it's unused because it, whatever. Although, did I say unused? Oh, this probably did. Remove on. Okay, so this is AI criticizing AI. You get used to it. I don't care. Okay, merge that when tests have run. Did previous test runs complete? Yeah, good. Okay, so all the unit tests passed. So we did not have any unit tests that were testing this behavior that I just changed, which is its own problem, but it's fine. Okay, let's get a PR open for our new branch, issue 375. Okay, so we're adjusting zombie spawn rate and speed for balanced gameplay. It's true. All right, is this a good summary? Several improvements and adjustments. Shake effect configurability, refining buff application logic for buildings, tuning enemy and scenario parameters. So we can disable the effect while not having to remove the component. We can change the duration. We can choose to lock the enemy's position during shaking or not. We can reduce the movement speed of basic zombies, so we have the speed, so they're a little bit slower. Curve data to change how lazy comment here. Hold on. Change to make spawning of the second wave slower. Duplicate. Yep. Looks good. And we'll rebase. And assuming, well, I guess Copilot's going to give a review, so we'll let it do its thing. The other PR got merged, so that's now on our main branch. And if we go back to the backlog, we can probably, yeah, I want to say it's working correctly in that we can change it and it affects how fast zombies spawn. This is still an issue. We'll work on that at some point. We'll work on the off-screen indicator dot texture. Slow down zombies. I guess is in progress. Theoretically, what I could do here is I could tag this like this, or I could put a comment in the description saying closes number 375. Either way, what does that do? That just means that when this PR is merged, it will close the issue. For those that care about such things. So I don't have to come back over here and drag it to the next column. Okay, so shall we work on the minimap? We could probably get started before the next break. What minimap, you might ask? Which is a good question. It was a feature that I thought would be really cool in the very early days, many months ago, where it's like, hey, what are a bunch of features that I could throw into this and have AI implement for me? And it never really worked. So it's been kind of just sitting there, disabled. Let's see, if we go to, we want the UI scene, right? TSCN. Minimap is invisible. It is its own scene, right? So we have some configuration here, but we can just look at the scene itself, and there's nothing here. It's a square. It is a, what is this? What is the actual node here? Let's look at the script. So there's no nodes in this. I wonder. I don't know that we need a scene for this. Nice. We got to do currently broken because of camera orientation. Right. So I think when we worked on the camera very long time ago to make it so the camera would have this kind of orthographic, isometric-ish perspective on the world, and we would be able to rotate in the way that it rotates. I think we broke things. Now what's interesting here is that I don't know that we need a scene for this, right? Because there are no nodes. For this, we just have a bunch of exports. Now we could have nodes. We already have the scene. Maybe we want to do things. So what does update timer do? And why doesn't it start with an, okay, update timer? Oh, that's the, right, so it calls update minimap, right, of course. So we draw things on our canvas. Shall we just enable it and see what it does? One thing I'm thinking about is we might want to have no, I don't know. So I noticed a couple of things though. So we have these components, background panel, minimap canvas, update timer. So minimap canvas So yeah, so one thing with AI generated code for Godot that it will sometimes do is that it will just create, like, it will make a scene and it will make a script, but then it'll just create the nodes in the script rather than putting them in the scene. So I think I've kind of broken this down before, but you could, and this is what I was talking about before, just have the GD script. It defines it, like it gives a class name here, UI Minimap. So we could instantiate a node in the UI scene that just refers to this class that's defined here, and we don't need this scene file, the tscn. As it is, that would work just fine. There would be no difference outside of we would get rid of the scene that's on the screen right now. So what are the cons? Why not? Why not do this? Why have a separate scene file? Well, if we had a scene file, then in the editor we would be able to take advantage of, I'll put it that way, defining this panel and this control and this timer in the editor, and use the inspector to change settings. We would potentially be able to use the scene in multiple places, and so that each instance of the scene we would be we'd be able to inherit the scene and have different values for these things. So take a look at this. So like Minimap canvas. Instead of Minimap UI, we are creating a control. We are setting these values, and then we add it to the scene tree. When is setup Minimap UI called? It's just called in ready. Okay, so this is just more stuff that happens at ready. So it's not like done multiple times in different circumstances. It's just done when the component is added. So the benefit there of having a scene is that we can edit things in the editor through the inspector. We would be able to inherit the scene and reuse it and change those settings without having to, well, how would you do it otherwise, right? You would have to either extend this node and create a different kind of node, which, I mean, is basically the same, but then you have to write more code to like override setup Minimap UI, I guess. Like you have to like think about inheritance and write code to do that, or you provide exports, and then you have to write code that takes the values from the exports and uses them to populate this. But that's just like duplicating what Godot does anyway. So which one is right? There's no right or wrong. There's anyway, thinking of a quote, but I won't go there. Anyway, there are pros and cons in both things, and at a small enough scale, it's just not going to matter. But what am I going to complain less about in the future might be a good thing to think about. And I think that since I already have the scene file and this is already set up, it's just going to be easier for me to move stuff into here. Like we'll just add a child node and we'll add a panel, right? And we're going to call this background panel. It's very easy, very easy. And then we just have to set all the settings that are set here, right? So turn on word wrap. There we go, so we can see what's going on. So we kind of have a narrowed space to work in. I guess theoretically, if I was using the editor in Godot for editing code, then I would see the code right here in the middle pane, and then I wouldn't need VS Code on the side. So there's another trade-off, right? But I don't have Copilot inside of the script editor here. So where is set anchors and offset presets? I think that's in layout, right? Do we know? Anchors and offset preset. Anchors and offset preset. Control preset full rect. I think that's this. There we go. anchors preset full right. Okay, so that did that. So we don't need to set up this anymore. We do need to set modulate to be the background color. So here's one thing where we are reading an export, and we want to set that value to this component. So that is one thing that will have to be like, actually, we need to take this, and I'm just going to move this. I suspect we're not going to need most of this code, so I'm going to change this. Now, the next thing we need to do is that since we are waiting for the component to be created, it's going to be auto-created by Godot, we need to have this on ready var equals background panel. Let me save over here as well so that we know that this exists. There we go. In fact, we can save more characters, right? But we can just use the colon equals to get the type of the background panel. Yep. And then, okay, so we'll set the background color to be we're gonna set modulate. What does modulate do on a panel? I guess it's a canvas item. Color applied to this canvas item. Okay, so we're just setting the color of the background panel to be the background color that we get from the UI, right? The UI passes in transparency, or transparency, mostly transparent, to that. So like here, we have the same values, but we could change it if we wanted to and see other things. Whoopsie. Anyway, doesn't matter. Okay, moving right along. So we set size to. Okay, so there are a couple things here. I guess I will keep this set up background. I'll keep this separate method here, because there are a few other things that we're doing here. But we don't need to add child. And then we need a control for the Minimap canvas. So we need a new control, which is the thing I already had selected. And this is also going to be preset full rect. And we want to set mouse filter pass. Mouse filter pass propagate up. Yeah, so we don't need any of this. And then Minimap canvas, GUI input, connect. Okay, cool. So then we just need to go over here and say, hey, this control, actually grab Minimap canvas, which is what this needs to be called. Yep, there you go, on ready. Great. So timer. We can also move the timer setup into here, right? So we can add a timer, and then we would just connect the signal. And so the other thing that I'm noticing here, like these connections, we don't need to do this in script if we have the node in the editor, which we'll come to in a second. Let's just set a timer. So make a timer. And we will do the same thing here. We'll do colon equals timer on ready. Very good. And we will configure this timer in the same way that we're doing it here. So wait time is going to be update interval. Okay, so we do need this part. So we'll keep this, because we need the update interval, which is, I'm assuming, is an export, right? So the thing that is using this subscene, if you will, is accepting this parameter, right? So we need to propagate that into the timer. But we don't need to instantiate a timer. We don't need to add the child. And the other thing that we can do, we don't need start either. We can get rid of that. what we can do is we can say auto start on. That'll automatically start it. And then we can connect it, right? So we can connect this timeout to update minimap, right? So on the attached script, there is a update minimap method, and we can just connect it. And then we don't need this line. See how much easier the setup is here? In fact, I'm thinking I want to just get rid of this whole separate setup minimap UI, and we'll just do it all in Ready, because there's not a lot of things here. The other thing we can do is we want to connect minimap canvas. This guy. It has a control GUI input, and we want to connect it. It has a signal on the control called GUI input. We want to connect it to on minimap clicked. This one, connect. So now we don't need this line either, right? So we've cut out a bunch of extra stuff that might be fragile, and we have things that are editable directly in the editor. So let's. I'm not gonna have a cliffhanger. We're gonna run the game, and we're gonna see. Did I need to? I probably need to turn on the minimap. Let me restart. I think I have to turn on the minimap here. Now, do I want the minimap to be there? Oops. Minimap. Where do I want you anchored? No. Minimap. Okay, so layout, transform, position. Let's move you. This will not be in the way, right? I don't know. It's funny when you have all the stuff on screen, you can see a lot of there's a lot of stuff. It's kind of convenient for just like thinking about like how everything is arranged and what could be happening all at once. Okay, so that didn't exactly work because the minimap is not where we wanted it to be. Let's go faster. So one thing here is that, and I guess this is not necessarily a problem, but one thing I am noticing. First of all, what's that? What is that? Okay, so if I'm oriented this way, so what is this? Yeah, the minimap doesn't zoom, right? So you just have an overview of the world. Stop moving. There we go. Okay, got him. I want to see what it looks like when there's a bunch of zombies, right? So, and I do need to move the minimap, and I don't know what the deal is with the circle here. I have the feeling is it the camera? Go faster. Go faster. Okay, so the wave 1 was done. So this is the consequence of changing it so that the wave doesn't end when all the zombies are defeated, as there's a little bit of dead time. But look at the zombies coming in. So I noticed a couple things. One thing I noticed is that the zombies are rendered outside of the bounds of the minimap. Otherwise, I mean, it's not terrible. I think it's fine that the minimap is locked into a particular direction. It doesn't necessarily follow. I guess that's fine. So I think maybe it's not as broken as I thought it was. So I do want to go back here to 2D and anchor preset. Let's see. Minimap. Is there like a bring to front? Layout. Pivot, offset, scale, rotation, visibility, ordering. There we go. If we do this, I still can't click it. There we go. Okay. So if we relaunch, does that fix the position? No. No, it doesn't. What's up with that? Anchor preset. Let's do position. Okay, this is the problem. Instead of using anchor, I need to use position, I think. Let's do that. And nope. Okay, well, we'll figure this out after the break, which is happening any second now. So